Adrian, this is Gary Vee, and you're in the Ask Gary Vee show with T-Pain.
Yes, what's up?
What's up, bro?
We're making connections here on the Ask Gary Vee show.
I know this guy.
Yes,
Yes, you know
Mason
him.
Milk.
Mexican, exactly. Oh, really quickly, I want to say
Mexican.
you changed my life.
I get it.
became
I
a
understood.
YouTuber, and it just made a huge impact on my life. Thank you.
Adrian,
for
how did it make an impact on your life? What is the T-Pain behind the scenes doing that's impacting your life in that scenario?
Well, he gives opportunities to people that are dream life opportunities. I was literally a living room dancer, and he had an open call audition, which is unheard of for people trying to make it in the talent world.
T-Pain, literally the guy who's saying, I'm in love with a stripper. Yep, that's my guy for inspiration. T-Pain wasn't just a role model to me, he was actually my boss. I used to be a professional backup dancer. I know it's hard to think about me now if you're just coming across the Adrian Brambilla YouTube page, like who's this stiff Mexican guy making business videos? But dude, I used to break it down. 21 years old, I was in the prime of dancing, popping, robot. And before that, just a couple years before that, I was on a tour with T-Pain for about a couple years. Now, some people talk about this word manifestation, and I do believe in it, but I think what I'm about to share isn't really about manifestation. It could just be sheer dumb luck, but there's a few weird incidents of how I became a professional dancer for T-Pain that almost make it seem like it was kind of meant to be. Before I talk about the first one, I want to kind of just give a context to how I was in high school. I was not dancing. I was bullied, and I always wanted to dance, but I was kind of afraid. You know how high school happens, you know, people like put you in a box because you kind of are raised with kids in the same area, and it's like really hard to try something new. So I kind of fell victim to the box and to the bullying, I guess. But for some reason, I mustered up the confidence, and on the senior year pep rally, me and a friend named Ian, we created our own song off of I'm Gonna Buy You a Drink, changed the lyrics a little bit with a little bit of creativity, said, I'm a graduate. And we actually sang this song in front of all my high school in Fallbrook High School. Random at the time, sure. I mean, T-Pain was top of the charts back then. I had no idea I wanted to dance at that moment. I had no idea that I was going to be a dancer for T-Pain. Here's the next second weird thing that happened. About my freshman year in college, in the first couple months, T-Pain was in Madison, Wisconsin. So I was going to school at University of Dubuque, Iowa. Quick drive away, I was like, I have to see T-Pain. I grew up listening to his stuff. I cannot miss him. We went to the concert, and T-Pain did awesome, and he had a couple dancers there, and I thought, wow, how cool would it be to be a dancer for T-Pain? My sophomore year, I started going to YouTube and learning how to dance. And I actually gave up partying and drinking for a couple reasons. One, my dad came from Mexico when he was 13. My mom came from poverty, both Mexican. And they made it their life's mission to make sure that my sister and I, when we went to college, we graduated debt-free. Now, my sister, she got a full 1D1 scholarship. Me, the average Joe, they had to use that savings and something I'll always be grateful for. So my freshman year, when I started partying and I was drinking a lot, it felt really dishonest when I came back from Iowa to visit them and they asked me how was college, and I was like, it's good. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't think I'm doing this right. So I started to try other things that would replace that time, because actually college kids, they spend a lot of time partying. So dance was it. YouTube, looking up dance videos, and then I went to my very first dance battle in Madison, Wisconsin, and that's when I finally got embraced by this whole hip-hop culture. I started to take dance really seriously. In fact, so seriously that my starting position on the soccer team that I had since my freshman year was starting to go down, and now all of a sudden I was coming off the bench, but my dancing was going up and up. It's because my passion of soccer was being replaced by dance. And here's where all those three instances come together. T-Pain has an open call audition, which is unheard of in the professional industry, an internet dance competition to actually be his full-time dancer. So it was perfect. I was in LA, and all I had to do was create a dance video and send it. This was the video I sent. Thousands upon thousands of dancers from all across the country, professionals and amateurs, or I would even call myself a living room dancer at that time, submitted a dance video. And 30 were selected to fly out to Tallahassee, Florida, and I happened to be one of them. Already, I feel like my life was changed just to make it there. How incredible. I was like starstruck. The whole thing just felt like I had already won the competition. I could have walked away without being a dancer and would have been completely satisfied. When I got there, I was greeted by 9 other dancers who had nothing to their name, and one of them actually was Wildebeest Adams. Quick side note about Wildebeest, super cool dude. In fact, I think it's really humbling, and a way we keep in touch is, just a reminder of our journeys and how they've grown. I think it's fascinating and amazing that he became the name that he is today in the dance industry. But enough about Wildebeest, because this video is about me. The audition was 3 days long, and each day they were cutting dancers. On the last day, 10 dancers stood. Among them, Wildebeest and I, another dancer, Anisha Gibbs, notable. She's done great in the industry. And T-Pain was supposed to pick one person. He said, Adrian, step forward. He said, Wildebeest, step forward. He said, Anisha, step forward. He said, everyone step forward. And we're like, oh God, none of us are going to make it. He's like, I'm going to take all of you. I remember, I think in tears of joy, calling my dad, my mom, and my girlfriend, who's my wife now, Ashley, and my best friend, Tim. And it's so funny because the reactions from my mom and my dad and Ashley were kind of the same. And Tim, my best friend, was like, dude, that's freaking unreal. But when I talked to my parents and Ashley, they were like, oh, wow, congrats. Because I think I could understand the undertone behind each one. My parents, what are you going to do about college? And my girlfriend at the time, Ashley, what are you going to do about a relationship? Quick answers to both of those. I stayed in college and did school online while I was touring, and Ashley is my wife now. So both worked out. T-Pain was an amazing guy. He knew me by name. He knew all the dancers by name. He would shoot us text messages. He invited us over to his house to grill and make mac and cheese, which was actually pretty good, homemade. And our first trip out, all the dancers, was to Atlanta. We were there for, I believe, a couple months training for the big tour. And I think it was, this environment, like there was something in the atmosphere. If you ever come across T-Pain, you'll notice there's an aura about him and other people who have achieved such a high amount of success that it just comes naturally. And being around him, it's not like T-Pain ever took me side by side and said, hey, here's a step-by-step tutorial on how I did it. But watching him, you can really get a sense of wow, the accomplishments. And I think just being around him really inspired me. But there is a few moments I can recall that I don't think I'll ever forget for the rest of my life. And one of them, I think, seriously made me want to become an internet serial entrepreneur. One of those moments I'll never forget, we were in Chicago, B96 Summer Bash, and T-Pain gathered all the dancers because he wanted to perform a song that was not out yet. And we got scrapped together some choreography, and we did it. And then after he launched the song, in 10 minutes, it had over 1 million downloads. Well, iTunes, $1 a download. Basically, I watched him make $1 million in 10 minutes. And that wasn't just the first time. I would watch him do this again and again and again. And I think that ability is what inspired me to be here today. To basically create a roaring audience of fans who are willing to buy whatever it is you have to offer with a click of a button. The other story that I'll never forget is T-Pain was having a party in his mansion of a house, which, by the way, was decked out, 30 cars, pimped up. I think there was even a Mini Cooper that was lifted with chrome wheels, 30-inch. Insane. I remember his basement or lower level had basically 30 TVs on the wall and 2 stripper poles. But I promise, Ashley, if you're watching this, strippers never arrived. And in the back of that, there was basically this arcade room, pinball machine, super awesome. Now, in the night of this particular party, I was studying for finals the next day. So I snuck my textbooks to the party, and about an hour in, I wanted to like kind of sneak off away. I went to the arcade back room, which was away from the two stripper poles. And I took out my book, and I think I got away with like 30 minutes of studying. And all of a sudden, T-Pain walks into the arcade room, and I'm like, oh crap, like, am I gonna be in trouble here for like studying? And he said, Adrian, what are you doing? And I said, I have finals tomorrow. He said, you know, Adrian, I didn't go to college. I said, valid point. I thought in my head, well, he did all right. He didn't go to school. And he's like, why don't you just come out with us and have a beer? And I said, okay. Not the most inspirational advice, but that's what I did. And I ended up having an amazing time. And looking back at it now, I thought, wow, here I was in T-Pain's mansion of a house. Everyone was partying, having a good time. And I was focusing on my finals. And if I could have just stepped back to figure out what's more important, one final paper, which let's say if I just failed it, I still would have ended up with like a B- for a college grade, or I could have just enjoyed myself a little better. So it was just like a nice reminder that to not, ever take things too seriously, I guess. But I promise you take that advice with every element of your life, you're probably not gonna be that successful. But for T-Pain, it was a special moment and I'll never forget it. Since tour ended, I've had the opportunity to interact with T-Pain once, which was on the Ask Gary Vee show. And besides that, we're connected online, but honestly, I'm just one person out of probably literally millions of people that he's made a positive impact on.
Here's what I want you to do. I'm really curious. Comment someone below that is maybe a little unorthodox, like T-Pain, that inspired you, or a role model, or someone you look up to. Please don't put Jeff Bezos, like we know. Like put someone weird, like unorthodox, that has made an impact on your life, or that you look up to, or love reading their stuff. That's what I want to know, because for me, it was T-Pain.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.